long-term military security guarantees, those have to be European-led.
Meanwhile, the far-left media is trying to insinuate that Ukraine won't have an equal seat at the negotiating table.
So I will never accept any decisions between the United States and Russia about Ukraine. Never. And our people, never. And our adults and children and everybody. It can't be so. This is the war in Ukraine against us, and it's our human losses.
Did Ukraine just deliver a crippling blow to Russia's economic future? What if I told you that a major shift in global power is happening right now, and it's all because of Ukraine's secret weapon, its vast natural resources? Even the United States is stunned by this latest move, and Russia's biggest hope for critical income may now be slipping through its fingers. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our in-depth coverage of global events. Now let's get into it. Imagine a world where military aid is no longer a one-way transaction. What if the United States could benefit strategically from the billions of dollars it has poured into Ukraine? That's exactly what President Donald Trump has suggested. According to reports, Trump has floated the idea of restructuring U.S. military aid to Ukraine by tying it to access to Ukraine's vast natural resources. This bold move would transform U.S. aid into a strategic partnership, ensuring that America is not just giving away billions but also securing valuable assets in return.
We're getting security on our money. We're going to have it secured by, they have rare earth, and they have oil and gas, and they have a lot of other things, and we're asking for security on our money.
Ukraine's natural resource wealth isn't just about money. It's about power and influence. The country is home to vast reserves of rare earth elements, which are crucial for everything from high-performance magnets and electric motors to advanced military technology. Right now, less than 20% of Ukraine's mineral-rich territory is under Russian control. This means Ukraine still holds the upper hand, making it an even stronger ally for the West. Zelensky's administration is now pushing for deeper collaboration with the United States, not just for military aid, but also for industrial investment. The goal? To reduce Western dependence on Chinese mineral supplies and solidify Ukraine's position as a global supplier of critical raw materials. For Russia, this is a nightmare scenario. Losing control over these resources cripples their long-term economic ambitions, while Ukraine strengthens its ties with the United States and its allies. This battle isn't just about minerals, it's also about energy dominance. Ukraine is positioning itself as a key player in Europe's energy security by leveraging its underground gas storage fields. President Zelensky has already announced that Ukraine is finalizing contracts for liquefied natural gas supplies, aiming to become a pivotal energy hub for Europe. This move is devastating for Russia, as European nations are actively seeking alternatives to Russian gas. If Ukraine solidifies its role as a reliable energy supplier, it would deal yet another economic blow to Russia. At the same time, Ukraine is pushing for direct negotiations with the United States. President Donald Trump has repeatedly stated that he could end the Russia-Ukraine war in just one day. But is that really possible? Experts argue that any diplomatic solution with Vladimir Putin will require more than just negotiations. It will require coercive diplomacy. What is coercive diplomacy? It's a strategy that combines threats with incentives to push an adversary into submission. During his previous term, President Trump's administration relied heavily on tariffs and sanctions to pressure Russia. However, without clear ultimatums and enforceable conditions, these measures have often fallen short of their intended impact. Now, some analysts believe that Ukraine's new strategy, offering minerals and energy in exchange for U.S. support, may be the most practical path forward. One of the biggest challenges in resolving this war is the sheer scale of the demands. Ukraine wants full territorial restoration, potential NATO membership, and long-term security guarantees. But achieving all of these at once is nearly impossible under current circumstances. That's why some experts suggest a small-step approach, focusing first on localized ceasefires, humanitarian corridors, prisoner exchanges, and nuclear safety agreements. Could this be the key to unlocking peace talks? While full-scale negotiations seem unlikely right now, incremental progress could help reduce hostilities and lay the foundation for future agreements. Ultimately, the best-case scenario for both Ukraine and the U.S. may be a long-term security agreement, one that ensures continued military support while discouraging further Russian aggression. Such an agreement would give Ukraine the confidence to continue defending its sovereignty, while reassuring its Western allies that they aren't pouring money into an endless war. But the details of such a deal remain uncertain, and much will depend on the outcome of future diplomatic talks. With President Donald Trump back in office, the entire geopolitical landscape could shift dramatically. His resource-backed aid proposal could redefine U.S.-Ukraine relations and reshape the balance of power in Europe. Will this new approach finally bring an end to the conflict? Or will Ukraine and Russia continue their battle over resources, energy, and influence? Only time will tell. Ukraine's latest moves are shaking up the global order, from its strategic control over rare earth minerals to its new energy ambitions and evolving military partnerships. For Russia, this is a major setback. The loss of Ukraine's resource-rich territories could cripple its long-term economic plans and reduce its leverage over Europe. For the United States, Ukraine's vast mineral wealth presents an unprecedented opportunity, not just for economic gain, but for reducing reliance on foreign adversaries. The battle for Ukraine is no longer just about land, it's about control over the world's most critical resources. In the intricate landscape of international diplomacy, Ukraine's vast reserves of critical minerals have become a focal point in its negotiations with global powers, particularly the United States. These resources, essential for advanced technologies and defense industries, are seen by Ukraine as both a strategic asset and a bargaining chip in securing military and economic support. Recently, the U.S. proposed a deal wherein it would receive ownership of 50% of Ukraine's critical mineral resources in exchange for continued military aid. This proposal, presented by U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, has been met with caution by Ukrainian leadership. President Volodymyr Zelensky emphasized that while Ukraine is open to partnerships, any agreement must include robust security guarantees to protect against future aggression. He stated that the current draft does not protect us and lacks essential provisions to safeguard Ukraine's sovereignty. As the conflict in Ukraine intensifies, the fight over natural resources is becoming just as critical as the war itself. Ukraine's mineral wealth is now at the center of a global power struggle, with the United States, Russia, and other major players vying for influence over these valuable assets. But the biggest question remains: should Ukraine trade its resources for security and military support, or should it hold firm on sovereignty at all costs? The world is watching, and the decisions made in the coming months could redefine Ukraine's future, global energy markets, and even the balance of power between the U.S. and Russia. The latest diplomatic proposal from the U.S. Treasury has raised eyebrows. Under this plan, the United States would receive a 50% stake in Ukraine's mineral deposits in exchange for continued military aid and security guarantees. At first glance, this may seem like a mutually beneficial deal. Ukraine gets the weapons it desperately needs, while the U.S. secures access to valuable critical minerals that power high-tech industries. However, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky remains skeptical. He has emphasized that Ukraine will not trade its sovereignty for military aid. In his latest statement, Zelensky acknowledged the economic potential of such a deal, but warned that the current proposal does not provide Ukraine with enough protection against future Russian aggression. So, what's the next move for Ukraine? Will it accept a deal that could strengthen its economy but potentially give away control over its natural wealth, or will it push for a better agreement that secures military and financial aid without sacrificing independence? Ukraine's lithium, titanium, and rare earth elements aren't just valuable. They are essential for the future of technology, military defense, and the global economy. These resources are used in smartphones and high-tech devices, electric vehicle batteries, advanced military equipment, and the aerospace and defense industries. With the world shifting toward clean energy and high-tech innovation, these minerals are more valuable than ever. That's why both the US and Russia are desperate to gain control over Ukraine's resource wealth. Currently, Russia holds less than 20% of Ukraine's mineral-rich territory. But if it expands its control, it could monopolize critical materials, disrupting global supply chains and giving Moscow greater leverage over the West. Meanwhile, the United States sees an opportunity to reduce its dependence on China's mineral supplies by securing a partnership with Ukraine. The stakes could not be higher. While Ukraine and the U.S. negotiate potential trade deals, Russia is already making strategic moves to cut Ukraine off from its own mineral wealth. Intelligence reports suggest that Russia is accelerating mining operations in occupied Ukrainian territories, particularly in areas rich in uranium and rare earth metals. This means that if Ukraine loses more ground, it could lose direct access to some of its most valuable resources. In response, Ukraine has ramped up security around key mining sites and is actively working with Western companies to develop infrastructure that ensures these resources remain under Ukrainian control. But is it enough? Or will Russia gain the upper hand in this resource war? With the US aid proposal on the table, Ukraine faces a tough decision: accept the deal as it is, negotiate better terms, or reject it entirely. Experts argue that Ukraine should push for stronger security guarantees, ensuring that any mineral agreement comes with firm US military backing. Seek alternative funding sources, partnering with European and Asian nations to avoid overdependence on one country. Retain majority ownership of its resources so that it remains in control of its own economic destiny. If Ukraine plays its cards right, it could secure a deal that benefits its war efforts, strengthens its economy, and ensures long-term independence. But if the negotiations go wrong, Ukraine risks being caught in a new kind of war, one fought over minerals, money, and influence. Ukraine's mineral wealth is a double-edged sword. It could be the key to its survival and future prosperity, or it could become a vulnerability that foreign powers exploit. The world is at a turning point, and the decisions made now will shape not only Ukraine's future but also the global economy and the balance of power between the US, Russia, and China. But now, we turn it over to you. What do you think? Should Ukraine accept the US deal, or should it fight to keep full control over its resources? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more updates on global conflicts, diplomacy, and the power struggles shaping our world today.